No stall, full build guide for the newest Animo Bow on-fielder Chasca. She introduces some pretty unique playstyles and abilities, so let's just get right into it. So I'm just gonna cover the materials real quick. Here's what you need to level 90 her, pause if you need to, and here's what you need to upgrade her skill and ult to level 8. Make sure to level her skill first, it's definitely by far the best. So let's just start with her bow options. She has a lot, which means I'm just gonna rank her top options for both 5 stars and 4 stars. So firstly, here are all the 5-star options. Chasca's best in slot will of course be her signature, Astral Vultures, by a good amount. It's very broken. Her second best will be the first Great Magic, third place will be Aqua Simulacra, fourth Thundering Pulse, and fifth Skyward Harp. So if you have any of these already, they will work great on her, and all perform better than the 4 stars. Speaking of which, her best in slot 4-star will be the Flower Wreathed Feathers, in second Range Gauge, third Scion of the Blazing Sun, fourth Song of Stillness, and lastly Chainbreaker. Anything I didn't mention just performs worse, and also if you have higher refinements for the 4 stars, then they can even sometimes outperform the Skyward Harp. Okay, on to artifacts. So since she can take advantage of Night Soul's Blessing, Obsidian Codex is by far her best in slot artifact set. Nothing else even comes close to it in terms of personal damage. You can pre-farm for it now, so definitely start doing that. Also, for those wondering about the VV set, because she's an Animo driver, it performs decently for team damage. It's terrible for personal damage, so decide whether or not you want to hyper carry her specifically, which is what she's designed to do, or hyper carry your off-field DPS, like a Zhongling for example. The artifact's main stats she wants will be attack percent on the sands, attack percent on the goblet, and crit on the circlet. However, in some situations, switching one of the attack percent pieces to EM can be stronger, but this depends on if she's getting EM or attack percent elsewhere and the substats on the pieces. Overall, you're better off just going double attack percent, unless of course you have some godly EM piece. And then for her substats, aim first for 130 to 160% energy recharge. This just depends on if you can reliably use her ult every rotation. Then crit rate, crit damage, aim for a 1-to-2 ratio, and get as much as you can. Besides that, attack percent and EM rolls alongside the crit you're aiming for will be perfect for her. Now team comps. So Chasca's role will be an Animo on-field driver, and there are a couple of requirements to maximize her damage. So it's best to have 3 teammates, all of different elements, because of her A4 passive. If you have her Constellations, this doesn't matter, but I'm assuming C0 for most people. And she also preferably wants to be on a team that focuses on spamming reactions. For example, she doesn't really provide enough value to play her in Hyper Bloom teams compared to other options. So her premium hyper carry team will be Farina, Bennett, and Auroron. Yes, even though she fights in the air at times, she still keeps Bennett's buff, just like Wanderer. In this comp, Auroron will be holding the Cinder City set, making this team just insane. But since she's Animo, she can really be played anywhere. For Freeze, Shenhe, Farina, Charlotte is incredible. Aggravate with Yai, Nahida, Kuki. Taser with Auroron or Fischl, Farina, and Kokomi is really good too, honestly. And Vaporize with Farina, Bet, Zhongling is another top tier team, of course. And in the future, it's speculated that the Pyro Archon will be taking Zhongling's place, so that's gonna be nice to look forward to. Alright, finally, let's talk about her Constellations. So C1, when triggering her A1 passive, the second Shadow Hunt shell will be additionally converted into a Shining one, and the chance to trigger Spirit Binding conversion is increased. If there are any party members who meet elemental conversion type requirements, change the trigger increased by 33.3% up to 100%. In addition, Chasca's Night Soul and Phlogiston consumption decreases by 30% out of combat, so she essentially can be played more flexibly in more team comps. It increases damage and has some out of combat quality of life changes, which is nice. Overall, pretty good Constellation, but her signature is definitely worth it getting first over her C1. C2, she gains 1 stack of her A1 passive, allowing her to have 2 teammates of the same element, with no downside, which is already crazy. But then she also gets a crazy AoE ability for her Shining Shadow Hunt shells. This Constellation is a massive damage boost and gives her full flexibility for her team comps. Definitely worth going for, if you have the pulls, of course. C4, when Chasca ults, her rounds regenerate 1.5 energy per hit and deal AoE elemental damage equal to 400% of her attack. Consider charge attack damage. Okay. So, however, this can only happen once per ult. Okay. This makes the Constellation pretty bad. It's a damage increase for sure, but it's by far her worst. As usual, C4s are never good. No one really goes for them. Then finally, C6. Her multi-target fire charge time is decreased, and when her passive is triggered, she gains the Fatal Round state, which means in the next 3 seconds, when she charge attacks, it fires instantly. Damn. And the crit damage is increased by 130% for that attack. This can happen every 3 seconds once. So yeah, this Constellation is by far her best, of course. It pretty much allows her to squeeze another charge attack in her rotations. That's absolutely insane. Okay, so hear me out. C2 Chasca, Farina, Bennett, Pyro Archon. Yeah, this is definitely my favorite comp now.